Hoping to buy some gifts for people out of your business? Well, in this video, I tell you how to do it. As a business accountant, my team and I spend all day long helping business owners on their journey. And of course, as we approach the festive season, the question about business gifts comes up a lot. And of course, it can come up throughout the year, so we're not just talking about Christmas. But in this video, I wanted really to talk to you about the season of giving, what you can do, what you can't do. And of course, in this video, I'm going to concentrate mainly on limited company owners, because I think this is where it has the most impact and the most sort of rules to get your head around. But it does have some limited use in terms of if you're a sole trader or a partnership as well, if you've got a team, and a lot of the principles are exactly the same. So regardless, watch on, but mainly we're going to be talking about limited companies. Now, before we get into the video, if you enjoy these type of things, make sure to click the subscribe button below so you get notified whenever we release another one just like it. So business gifts, they're an interesting thing. The first thing I want to say is always the same, is we're not talking about cash here. The minute you start playing around with cash in terms to employees, to customers and all the rest of it, you're looking at entirely different rules, and generally it's not going to be very tax efficient. So we're talking in this video about things like you might want to, around Christmas, buy things for really one of two sets of people. Your suppliers, your customers, those type of people, business associates, and then your staff. And there's two separate sets of rules really that apply, and one's more favourable than the other generally. So let's talk first about the main one. You probably want to gift, some good customers something, or your suppliers or other associates. Now, in that case, most of the time it's going to end up going down as entertainment in your books. I know that sounds weird because it's not like you're necessarily taking them out for a night out on the town or anything, but you buying them, let's say, a box of chocolates or a bottle of wine or something like that at Christmas, generally goes down as entertainment. What that means is that it's not tax deductible for you. So the company can pay for it, it's no problem at all, and that's the first thing to say, is you can basically do what you like to a degree, and be sensible as always, but and of course it's your money, but it isn't tax deductible, so there's no massive tax advantage to it. You can't get the VAT back on it, and generally there isn't any massive bonus. However, it's not coming out of your taxed income as a limited company owner. So if you're buying gifts for people, you've not paid corporation tax and then personal tax on it, for example, and then buying it out of your own pocket. It's still the company's money, so there is some benefit to it. But of course, like any business expense, you want to be sensible about where you're spending your business's money and where that investment's best placed. But of course, everybody wants to do something nice for their good customers and their suppliers and the like. So generally, that's the deal with that. It's not tax deductible. However, there is one instance where it is, and that's if it's, say, an advertising sample. So you might receive around Christmas what a lot of people call lumpy mail. It turns up and there's a new diary for next year, or there's something like that. Now, in those cases, if the gift's under 50 quid and it's got, say, a logo or an advertisement or something like that on it, generally it's tax deductible as advertising. And it's the same if you send like a promotional sample of your stock or something like that. And in those cases, it is tax deductible because it's basically marketing expenditure. So, if you do want to do any promotional merchandise and that kind of stuff, ice scrapers, all these, the world of promotional merchandise is pretty amazing at the moment. And we're very lucky enough to have a client who does it, and it's a fantastic array of things you can do. But if you're going to do that, that is a good way of promoting your business and getting a tax deduction as well. The one caveat to that is that unfortunately you can't go around stamping the front of your hampers and your bottles of wine and get a deduction. Those things are exempt in the same way as a voucher would be, and there's a few other things that are effectively exempt. But if you think about going back to the general stuff, diaries, ice scrapers, and those wide sort of range of promotional gifts, under 50 quid, they're generally okay, and they're a good idea for a tax purpose. Now, what I would say with this is, with all this, both what we've just talked about there and what we're about to talk about in terms of gifts to you and your team, just make sure that you keep good records of who they were for. Because of course, if you've got a HMRC investigation, they're going to see the receipt for whatever you bought with all these masses of bottles of wine and everything else, and wonder is it for your house party, like what was it for? So definitely keep good records of who you sent it to. I know, like internally, we keep a spreadsheet, because you want to know who you gave a gift to last year and all the rest of it. So obviously, accountant, keeping a spreadsheet, shock horror, but that is obviously a good way of doing it. So let's talk about gifts for staff. So if you're gifting to staff, I'd encourage you to watch a video called Trivial Benefits that we did, and it's a really important tax secret, and I think that's the title of the video. Actually, we'll try and put it up here if we can. And yeah, it's a rule that allows you to gift to staff and to yourself as a limited company director. Now, those gifts of up to £50 in any instance are tax deductible for the company. They're also not taxable on the individual. The entire idea of it is that you can give them, say, like a Christmas gift or a gift on their birthday, and they're not taxed on it. And that applies to you as the owner as well, and there's some really good tax efficient things you can do with that. So just have a look at the other video. But for now, just think under 50 quid, great, that'll work. And again, we're not talking cash, we're not talking rewards or anything like that. We're talking purely Christmas gifts, that kind of stuff, birthday gifts. But check out that video on trivial benefits. Now, one thing I need to talk about on this, because it's a common problem we get, is you might have some very close associates. So what I mean by that is subcontractors. Let's say you're a contractor, a plumber, and you've got several of people that you count as your guys, but they're like your subcontractors, they're not actually employees. Bear in mind that the first set of rules are going to apply. So if you buy them a present for Christmas or whatever, they're not employees. They're not covered by this rule, so it would end up being entertainment. So just bear that in mind when you're talking about gifts for your team. You know, if they're subcontractors, they're not technically employees. So just bear that in mind. I think that's something we see quite a lot, and is where you've got those close associations with people that you're working with. So that's one trap to watch out for. But apart from that, that's it. So I think generally, if you're thinking gifts, it's always good to keep under 50 quid for the two different things we've talked about, whether you're doing advertising samples, whether you're doing staff gifts. If you're actually gifting to other people externally, then obviously the £50 doesn't necessarily matter, but like everything, it's being sensible and keeping a limit, and it is, at the end of the day, your business's money. So that's the general rules to get you giving during this seasonal time, and any time during the year where you need to give a tax efficient gift. As I said, be sure to check out the trivial benefits video for the extra rules around gifts to you and to your team. That's it. See you on the next one.